Sorry, sorry. Self-medicating. Hey, how's it going? Excuse me. So today I want to talk about stronger. Oh, hold on, forgot my things. Just a second. Okay, now I may proceed. So, yes, talking about stronger, and I wrote a piece on it, text piece, and I actually wasn't planning on doing this, but I had a suggestion to go ahead and do it, and I said at the time, I think I said all I had to say on the subject in the text piece, so, but I was thinking about it anyway because reasons. So, here I am, and there are my YouTube disclaimers, okay, and that is what I'll be talking about, but first, Jake Gyllenhaal, this is Jake Gyllenhaal movie, and I'm kind of like low-key doing a tribute to his work, and this weekend, I was looking for, oh wait, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I was looking for a Jake Gyllenhaal movie, but I like the guy, like just as a person. Well, not as a person, like, well, what I know of him from a distance, I like. I recently found out that he has the same birthday as my brother, which I love. And I also am a Sagittarius, so I like that. And I talk about that more in the text piece, which I will link. But what I didn't say was the other thing about Gyllenhaal's is, you haven't seen a picture of my mother, and people that know what she looks like may not see this, but I look at Maggie Gyllenhaal, and I think, holy crap, that girl looks like my mom. So that's like a weird thing. And it's not, I mean, if you put a side-by-side picture of them together, you probably would not see what I'm seeing, but it's like having seen both of them like in action, like animated, they have a shared number of expressions that, look, I was watching that movie with her and Andrew McCarthy, I think it was, where there was like an office guy and he had like a BDSM situation going on with the secretary. And so that was probably like my first real look at something like that. That wasn't like a porno thing. That was just like regular people like doing that. And it was just weird to see, like, she keeps making faces that look like my mom. Obviously it made an impression. But like my mom is gone, so, and she was gone at the time. And it just like, I was like, oh. So there's that. I like Gyllenhaal's. Go figure. It's kooky. Okay, so that's that. But that kind of is part of why I'm like all into this guy's movies. But there's more to it than that. There is a level of quality there that can more often than not be counted on. So for my money, that's a good reason, among others, to just sit there and stare at something that the guy's in, other than just like the superficial, oh, he's so cute, you know? So, I was like, what the hell am I going to talk about in a video that I didn't already say? And it occurred to me that there was more to be said about what I had to say. Hold on a second. I gotta... Okay, so the other things about this was, and this was very like a personal kind of revelation type deal, but gosh, don't you want like your entertainment to give you something like that in the way of an experience? Don't you want it to touch you, to move you? to like metaphysically move you if they can't like actually pick you up and move your body somewhere. You can get into that whole imaginative stream that they took some form of information and created a world out of it and then filmed it for us to look at. So this story is actually based on a true story. But what I started to say before was I was looking for another movie to watch to continue with this like series sort of deal, tribute, whatever. And I I usually keep some money out to rent at least one movie every month when I get paid. And this month I kind of had other stuff going on, so that movie money was not there when I went looking for it. And so I have a few platforms, but unfortunately there just wasn't something that was ringing my bell to watch, except for things that required a fee. So I was kind of, I'll say it, I was pissy. I wanted what I wanted, but I didn't get it. And darn it, yeah. So I went on to Prime Video and found Stronger. And I didn't really look because I was all messed up about not getting my way with the thing I really wanted to watch. I was like, okay, obviously I'm going to have a second best choice here. And I should be happy I had so many choices. Like I could have watched something that I really wasn't over enthused about or rewatched some, just, I don't know, I was in the snit, I guess. But, so, I picked this movie and then it started and I didn't really look at the description because that's what I started to say. I was like in such a snit that I was like, oh, fine, I'll just watch this. And then I kind of looked at the description and I don't even know I don't think I read it. I think I just looked at words. I looked at characters, didn't put anything together. And I watched some of it and I was like, oh, okay, I see where this is going, but I guess I'll watch it because I can't decide on anything else. And like John Oliver doesn't come on till later or tomorrow, whatever. I try to forget the time and the day. That's not important. But anyway, I went away for a while and did some other stuff and came back and sorry, that's tasty. Berry water. And anyway, came back and I was like, okay, I guess I'm resigned to it. Then now there's a water drip on my lens. Fine, I'll just have a little mote in my eye, I guess. And so then I settled down to watch it, and it started going, and I did read the intro, and I was like, oh, it's about the Boston Marathon bombing. Doy. This could be good. And so it was really good in so many ways, because I just went in, I guess, contrite, which turned out to be a good way to go. So what I would talk about that I didn't talk about in the text was that, well, I did talk about it, but it is a story about breakthroughs. Like, I was thinking about the relationship between the main character and like his, significant other and also his family. But in this case, his SO, because he was even at the very beginning of the movie is about him trying to reunite with this ex of his. And I was like, oh, it's a rom-com. That's why I was so like, but it gets better. So, but this is why Jeff Bauman was at the Boston Marathon, according to the story. And I wondered, this seems like a dumb thought, but it had to be, now that I think of it, the case. Like, Jack Bauman was one of the people who was severely injured in the bombing, and he wrote a book about that. And I had written the whole text piece and watched the movie and rewatched some of it and thought about it and started to do this. And then I was doing some more prep work, and I'm on the wiki about Bauman, and I'm like, oh, he wrote a book. And I'm like, well, is the movie about the book? Do you think the book contributed to the movie? I'm going to say probably. Because it's such an intimate story. Like, but that's what was really great about it. So, like in the beginning, he's trying to reunite with this girl, and she says the reason why she breaks up with him is because he doesn't show up. And if that's not a clear statement to people, it's like, you're just unreliable. You're flaky. And like she says, he's late. He doesn't remember important things. He doesn't think about stuff, have foresight. I'm kind of now paraphrasing, but I mean, it's not an uncommon dynamic. I saw it, and I was really surprised. I'm going to get all sidetracked, but bear with me here. In one of my friend's kids, like a young kid, and she had a boyfriend, and they'd been together a while, a couple of years, and to me that looked like stability. And then one day she's all breaking up with the guy, and I'm just gonna say people were curious as to why, and so it turned out the reason is because she didn't feel like he had ambition. Like, he was just happy. She thought he'd be happy to be working at Chuck E. Cheese forever, which I understand that viewpoint, but at the same time, it's the rare egg that works at one place for the rest of their life, especially something low level. I've never been in one of those places. I am repelled at the thought, a bunch of screaming over sugared kids and the parents, and I think that they serve alcohol at that place now. Ugh, sounds fun. Anyway, back to what I'm supposed to be talking about. She wanted more out of him, and she obviously still had feelings. If you watch it, you can see there's still the flirtiness that exists between them. There's the looks that they're looking at each other, and the eye contact burns, so they look away, and it's all cute. And that's the kind of thing about rom-coms that makes me puke. But you see that that's what's happened, and he ends up going to the race to support her in this effort to woo her back, and gets blown up for his troubles. But the thing is, things like that will, if you're not moving, it's not somebody else's job really to move you along. But in this case, it was probably meant to be, and that they were together, these two people. And then this thing happened to him that I can relate to this completely, because something similar happened to me, and it wasn't that I had I didn't get an injury that way. My thing was neurological, but the losses were very similar, and the recovery and returning to yourself was similar. But the thing here about my story and his is that he had, he was the victim of one of the bombs. The first one blew his legs off below the knee. So that, think about that. You have legs right now, let's say, and maybe you can get up and walk around on them, skateboard, dance, do, agile parkour, whatever it is. You can get around easily and with agility on your legs. And that, something can happen. Things happen. Accidents happen. Bad accidents happen. People have amputations. People get whatever happens to them where they lose the ability to use that limb or Yeah, let's just go with limb. So yeah, let's just say that you're going along and your life is a chessboard and somebody just comes along and goes pow and knocks it from underneath and everything goes flying. That's kind of what it's like. So for him, for me, I could put all the pieces back and reassemble the game. And, it took a long time because of things that I will refer to again that both of us had to go through. But this guy, his things were gone. And in the movie, you could see his mind in the moment going, I can't do stuff anymore. Like he wasn't thinking straight. He was really terribly injured. And that doesn't just affect your body, it also affects your mind because, again, think about it. All those things that I was saying that you could do on your nimble little feet, those were gone. No, he knew in his mind, I'm sure, that amputees get replacement limbs. They get artificial limbs. And I'm sure he knew that there's a transition involved in that, and it's not an easy one. But I don't think that he thought about the idea of going through it very seriously, because I, too, had the loss of, like, the whole side of my body for a year and more, because usually when I think about that experience or talk about it, I don't include the build-up to the paralysis, which was like a 6 to 9 month period before that where, the facility or the ability and the ability to use that part was like messed up, like it was numb, and people kept saying, why are you limping? And I'd be like, I'm not limping. And they'd be like, you're so limping. And it had to get really bad because the paralysis was gradually increasing. And, when I was like literally dragging my left side, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, maybe I'm limping. But see, I didn't know it when it was happening, but I was able to come back from it. And the prognosis was not good because they didn't know with me. They didn't have a clue. Like, I got what I got, like this neurological thing. It gave me brain tumors instead of the way that people normally got it, which was an upper respiratory disease. And whatever issues I have with that, you may notice I get out of breath. It's not because of the illness. That manifested in a completely other location than anybody ever saw before. So, woo, it's not fun being a curiosity. It's like you're going through all this stuff and there's all these people around you, the medical community, you're a specimen. And you are like, I need other things from all of you. Like, don't treat me like that. And then you have your personal people in your life, and the ways that they interact with you when you are sick in the way that I was. I mean, I was 26 and all of a sudden it was like I had a stroke or something, which is not what I had, but whatever it was, is people that knew about it, because not everyone knew about it, but the people that did know about it, a lot of them didn't come, and I was like hurting, like, I need you right now. But like I said, we both had different experiences, so mine wasn't the same kind of loss, but the recovery in a lot of ways was the same. We both had to relearn how to use our bodies, and we both had to learn to use stuff in ways that we hadn't before. Like, we had to compensate. I still have to compensate for stuff because my condition is ongoing. But it's just like a constant transition, kind of. And probably for someone like that too, because you have these replacement parts that, I don't know, like if they just attach them right to your body now. But in the movie, the guy had things that he could take on and off for a while. And but the point is, you have to learn how to use new parts of your body, and that also is going to correspond with new stuff your brain is having to do. And like I said, before any of this happened, intellectually, I'm sure we both were aware of this stuff and the possibilities, but you don't entertain the idea, by which I mean you don't like do a deep delve into like what's going to happen, how are you going to feel, how are you going to be viewed by the people outside of you, and how is that going to affect their behavior toward you. It's like you got so much going on in your head. And so in the movie, this guy's, I mean, you could call them problems, and they were problematic, but at some point, all of this stuff comes to an end, and you start to see yourself, the transition, as something real, and you feel a wholeness to yourself again that you lose for a while, and that's disconcerting. It's like when you have all these things that you normally had go away, you just change as a person, because your whole future has become, it's this unwritten thing. You don't know what to expect anymore, and that messes with your mind. So it's a story about all of those things, about this guy, and then it just expands outward to the people that he deals with, and like I said, the way that they see you and how it makes them interact with you, and then the motivations that they're having. I talk about all of this in great and probably much more clear detail in the text, so please take a look at that if you'd like to have the full picture of what I'm trying to express here. I'm going to keep it short. I think I'm about done, except to reiterate that if you choose a Jake Gyllenhaal production, and I think his level of involvement definitely has a difference. It seems like the more he has to do with it, the kind of better it is in the ways that I'm talking about here. So if you see one of his movies, you're probably going to have a good time. And I did. Thanks, bro. It was really cool. Thank you, and good night.